Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Sip and Security. I am your unofficial host, Justin Fields, with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Dave Abbott. Dave, it's been a minute. Welcome.
Not
And I
enough.
think
It's
today
been way too
it's
long.
been
And
way too
we're
long, right?
down a guest. We haven't run solo like this in what, 7, 8 episodes? I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? It's been a minute for that. And again, we did have guests lined up, and whatnot, but hey, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
this is great. It's good to have a little one-on-one
It's
time.
great to
Back
catch
going
up.
old school, right?
That's all right.
Um, Dave. I'm gonna jump in. Again, it's late in the day here, and I'm ready to jump in. And
What do you mean it's late in the day for you?
Boy.
It's later in the day for me.
It's
I'm
super
East
late in the
Coast
day.
time.
Super late. Super late. Let's jump in. Like, let's. I honestly, I am super stoked about this. I have a brand new bottle I just opened. Special shout out to my father-in-law on the Western Slope. He pinged me last year. Like, they moved over on the Western Slope and moved there. It's been a couple years now. And he's like, "Hey, have you had Clark and Co?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I showcased, a bottle. I don't know if you remember. I showcased a bottle on one of our previous
Yeah.
episodes." And he's like, "They have a limited release, Clark and Co, the Enstrom Toffee Bourbon."
Nice.
And
All right.
I've been like holding this. I'm looking forward to it.
Did I
It's
see
only
35%? Is that what it's
yeah,
saying?
70 proof,
Yeah.
35%.
All
So a
right.
little
That'll
on
be
the
an easy
lighter
sipper
side.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be good. But I've been eyeing this ever since I got it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait for Dave. I'm like, we got a
All right.
podcast coming up. So
Now
this is
hold on a
this
second. For us East Coast folks, what the heck is the Western Slope?
that's a oh man, you are East Coast. Wow.
Yeah.
So the Colorado's an interesting state, as like the one half of the state is like the plains, flat, and then you have the Rocky Mountains, right?
Okay. Yep.
Number 14 or so on and so forth. And I'm literally like, my home is right next to the base of the start of the Rocky Mountains.
Okay.
And like right here, they call it the hogback. It's just the start of the mountains. On the western side of the state, they call it the western slope, right? So it's just literally, it's the farthest west before you get to Utah. So we
So
call
are you
that
on opposite sides of the mountain range? Is that what we're saying?
essentially, yeah.
All
And
right. All right.
the mountains
Well,
go past there into
yeah.
Utah, so on and so forth. But it's the term. It's always the western slope.
All
So
right. So that bottle of bourbon went over the Oregon Trail trek through the mountains, through the range, had to make it to you.
that's
Yeah.
right.
All
Yeah.
right.
I'm looking forward to this one. So, and
Nice.
again, and I'm super like Dave. We've been talking about this. Like, I don't think we've repeated a bourbon.
No,
So,
no, no, no. I'm always pulling out a new thing. Problem is, I haven't been bourbon hunting recently, so I'm starting to hit the inventory that I don't really want to hit, but I do at the same time. So it's a
yeah,
great excuse to start opening those bottles.
I love it.
Um,
I love
so
giving you that
speaking
excuse.
of, all right. So my wife and I, we love Angel's Envy. Always been a huge fan of it. This is a newer release for them, and I hadn't seen it on the shelves before. Supposedly, it's not that rare. I just never really came across it. So this is the Angel's Envy Triple Oak. And Angel's Envy's always been so smooth. Anyone that's looking to get into bourbon, I typically recommend it. And this is 92 proof. It is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, finished in a blend of Hungarian, Chinkapin, and French oak barrels. So that is why it is a triple oak distilled. So excited to give this one a go. This is a great excuse to get this thing cracked open.
Nice. And have you had that before or no?
I have not, so this is going to be new.
Oh, gotcha.
But again, I'm a big Angel's Envy fan. We usually have a bottle sitting around in the house somewhere.
That's awesome. True instant feedback. So,
That's right.
I was about to have a drink. I gotta wait for you to open that. So
Oh, gee. Oh, well, I got to tear the
Oh.
plastic off. All right, now I got to rush opening this. Okay, putting me on the spot here.
I did open mine
Um,
before, just to be fair. So,
Speaking of whiskeys, by the way, so we were in San Diego at Cisco Live last week, right? And there was a bar in the Gaslamp District called Whiskey House. My goodness, they have a 90-page PDF menu of all the
yeah,
bourbons you can order. That was insane. I mean, I've been to a lot of whiskey spots, but I don't think I've ever seen 90 pages. And we're not talking like size 15 font. This is like size 8 font. with
Yeah.
probably 10,000 different bourbons on that list. It was insane.
Fun fact, Dave, did you know that they are the Guinness Book of World Record holder for having the most bourbons at,
Well, that explains it.
yeah.
All
That
right,
actually, that's
sir.
funny. That was a talk, right?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Great to see you.
Oh, that toffee's good. Little sweet.
Ooh. This has a little more bite than a normal Angel Envy, but awesome notes in the back end. Holy crap.
Wow.
That's a different flavor than normal Angel's Envy. I'm trying to decide if I like it more or not. I think if I was a beginner, I wouldn't like this as much. Like I'm thinking about I serve Angel's Envy to anyone.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't give this to just anyone. I'd probably do regular, but for those that are into bourbon, I would definitely recommend this. That's awesome.
This, honestly, for only being 35% alcohol, 70 proof, the toffee flavor,
Yeah.
the aftertaste, phenomenal.
Nice.
Like this is a great. I remember we talked Bird Dog. So super cheap, right? 15, $20 a bottle. And I remember I was chatting with Seth, like he was out in Tennessee or Kentucky, wherever he was, and he bought a bottle. I'm like, I gotta go pick some up. And it was like great sipping bourbon.
Dude,
right?
Me and College Dave, Bird Dog Peach with Diet Coke. I mean, it was an unstoppable force. One that probably should have been stopped, but it was an unstoppable force. It was fantastic.
That's
all right. Days. Well, speaking of unstoppable forces, Justin, you've been a freaking machine on the back end with this podcast. And I know we haven't done one of these episodes in a while. It's long overdue. We got to give a shout out to you and the work you've been doing, getting us set up for success. You want to show off some of the things you've been up to?
Yeah, man. It's been a minute since our last. So we're on episode 18. And it's funny because we talk about like some of the background of how we got started in it, kind of a work challenge. Let's do something different. Like great chemistry. Let's add in bourbon, and then here we are, a couple years later, episode 18. And again, we haven't had a recording in a while, podcast in a while. So and again, for those that know, I coached high school lacrosse. Had a phenomenal year. Like honestly, like works great. Like this is all fun, but like that was awesome to do that. And the season's over.
You got to shout out what happened at the end of the season too. By the way,
we happened to win a state championship. So
it's always no big deal.
Just a little thing. It's good. It's good icing on the cake. And I told the head coach, Dak Ricky, I told him, I'm like, hey, like I think this is going to be my last year, and I want to go out on top. And he's like, let's do it. All right. So we did. In between that and work and travel, we started a website, and again, there's been a lot of work. I want to totally give a shout out to Gazebo, one of the assistant coaches, Hayden. We're talking like this was his first year coaching at the high school, and what do you do for a living? I'm like, I work. I work for Cisco, have some fun, What do you do? It's like, I do this. And I also, work for kind of a small company doing websites. And I'm like, you want to build mine? Right. So we've been partnering together, Dave. I'm going to show you, like, I know I've kept you, in the loop for some of this.
A beta tester on it, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to see it.
But it's super cool. And I think honestly, like some of the feedback, like I think a lot of folks love our merch. We got new logos that are coming out. New merch coming out. Like we've already vetted and tested like some of the flasks that we have with our logo. The new branding doesn't have Abbott or Fields, because I think one of the big questions, some fans that don't know who Abbott and Fields are like, who's Abbott and Fields, right? So
yeah, but they should.
They should. So again, we've been focused on the website, and we're getting the merch uploaded, right? Again, shout out to Gazebo for all their custom integration. We'll have our store with all of our awesomeness. You can follow our podcast, listen on Spotify, watch on YouTube. A lot of the blogs, like we don't blog. Like I blog for work, but I don't really blog for this. However, we do reference a lot of articles. Like today, we're gonna have some pretty cool conversations about some recent topics in cybersecurity. Like those articles will go here, and it just provides some of that relevance and whatnot. So, yeah, this has been like time consuming to get everything off the ground, and again, logos and merch and rebranding and all
Great
that fun stuff.
project.
Yeah, it's been super cool. So super excited to launch that. And again, I think we'll have like an official announcement here in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, it's
That's
been
great.
fun, man. So how about you? It's again, it's been a minute. I know I missed you in
Whew.
missed you
Yeah,
in
been
San
a
Diego,
whirlwind.
but
I think travel with work has really ramped. We're going to go into a lull here in the summer, and then the fall it's going to ramp again. So been on the road 8 out of 8 weeks kind of thing. But in the meantime, have our beautiful 1-year-old daughter. She has been loving getting into play outside. We've got our boat action going on. It's warm here, and so
oh yeah.
it's been a blast. But with that said, it's been tough for us to find a time where we're both settled in at home and have any level of time for this.
Yeah.
And hopefully, now that lacrosse is done for you, things that travel have mellowed out a bit here, we can crack through a few of these. So
Yeah. So we
again,
have
just
this
shout out to
other
you
one.
on all the work on the website. I know a lot's gone into that, and I think it's gonna really, really pay off. So appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. This has been fun, man. And again, I think we're only at the beginning of this journey, so I think
Right.
it's super cool and super fun. And honestly, speaking of that, I know ironically, we were both in the same state at the same event at the same time.
For
And
a
yet
week.
for a week, and yet we didn't get to see each other. So that was a huge bummer. I know you were entertaining, I was entertaining.
Oh yeah.
It's funny though, because I think we probably both visited some of the same establishments, like a Guinness Book of World Record, right, bourbon bar, and
I went there
yet we
3 times for different events.
yeah, it's like wash, rinse, repeat, man. So like, so I mean, so
Crazy.
honestly, so many good people. Like, there's some good venues. I think there's some other events coming out later in the year there. So it's kind of a good, pregame of like, hey, here are the 10 places we're gonna go.
Yep.
So I obviously looking forward to catching up in person, but nonetheless, Dave, like speaking of Cisco Live, dude, phenomenal event, right? And again, yes, we both work for Cisco, but like some of the announcements, Dave, I thought were like stellar. And again, coming from like the sales, like, and for those that that don't know, like super technical, right? Totally sales. Been in
You're the one
technology
that's
a long
making
time.
websites, not me.
That is a
Oh,
good
you're
point.
talking-
And I'm just providing input to the technical people. But nonetheless, like, dude, I was super impressed. Like the AI Canvas thing, like I was just like, this is cool. Like from a support
Yeah.
perspective, like that real time like analytics and awesomeness. I was like, oh, so like and again, I think the partners and customers that I was with, like the buzz was all around that. So, what was your take? Like, what I know you
Yeah,
obviously
look,
focus on.
I mean, there were a million announcements. This isn't a Cisco podcast, so we're not going to go through
Yeah.
them all. But that AI Canvas one, just from a thought leadership perspective, is fascinating. It's funny, we were running a fireside webinar chat for partners the week before with G2 Patel, who's our chief product officer. And there were a couple questions that came through in the QA that we were monitoring. And they were like, "Did he say AI campus? What is this AI campus thing?" And like, no, AI
No.
Canvas.
Canvas. Yeah.
And I think when people see the demo of it, they understand why it's a canvas. This idea of taking an AI assistant and just supercharging it to create your own dashboard environments. Like, if you think about that chatbot, the AI assistant that's built into your products today, whether it's security, networking, what have you, you've got this one little interface on the side. And it references documentation and some intelligence behind the product you're working with. AI Canvas absolutely supercharges that, where it says, all right, I'm going to create graphics and dashboard representations and widgets, and you can grab and move that across this broad open canvas environment. And now I can invite collaborators to see that data. And so if I'm a security individual and I'm looking for real-time incident response, and I need to correlate that to the network, it's really hard for me to do that on a dynamic on the fly. And we spent a measly little $28 billion for that company called Splunk, and they are like world renowned for best in class dashboards and data ingestion. The problem is you got to know what the heck you're building months in advance. You got to know this is the dashboard that I want. This is the thing that we're going to tweak and refine and tune. That's great when it's something you're always doing and something the team needs to then learn against. But when I'm just in time and I'm troubleshooting something that's going to take me to different environments rather than having to pivot out, it keeps me in the same place. It allows me to create new views and widgets and capabilities. It allows me to correlate network and data center and collab and security all in one single fabric, one place of infrastructure. And that's fundamentally groundbreaking. And the best thing that I heard from partners coming out of that was like, we've been begging for single pane of glass.
Oh,
And it's
forever.
so hard to do that in a UI with all the
Yep.
features and capabilities and reports, and it becomes way too cumbersome way too quickly. This is your new single pane of glass.
Yeah.
Is this AI assistant interface dynamically creating content, actively changing, inviting collaboration on top. It is literally a game changer, and there's so much buzz around it. We can't wait to get our hands on it. There's some internal test access Cisco people have. They're talking about doing some alpha testing in August. What we heard is that they're planning for any CCIE to get early access through the Cisco EU platform, which I think is a genius idea, and it rewards our current CCIE members. I'm thrilled. And so if there's no other announcement that we were to cover, which I know we're not going to, like that one is one to highlight, is just visionary and leading the industry.
I would agree. And again, the demo live, real time, I'm like, dude, impressive.
The secret sauce too, we only had a handful of engineers working on that over the past 3 months. It was, and the neat thing too is the idea was being born out of a partner conversation that then DJ Sampath and Anon and G2 ran with, put some early investment in, created this kind of conceptual idea, and then demoed it live on a stage in front of 20,000 people. I mean, the nerve to go and do that is incredible.
Yeah.
And with the buzz that it's created, that we are going to be quadrupling the investment. Probably, let's be honest, 40xing the investment on that thing. Just mind-blowing innovation. Very, very exciting.
I love it.
It also shows the rapid pace of innovation in this AI space.
Yeah, I agree. It was just, dude, I mean, of all the announcements, I think that was the coolest thing to see live. Again, that's been the buzz. It will continue to be the buzz. Looking forward to like what it does in all aspects of business. Like I think it's huge. Like just that single pane of glass like is massive. I am so bummed, Dave, that I didn't get to see you out there, but
it is crazy. But those are 16-hour days. I mean, they really are. And then you got the final celebration day. You got the killers. You got after party. I mean, you can easily do 20 hours of being with people and in meetings and events. They are long days out there.
Yeah. It's hard work. I love the pictures. Like, where are you at? I'm over here. I'm at home. I'm done.
I was still out. We were still going.
Better than Vegas, though. So we can talk about that in another episode of pictures of you on the bus passed out because of.
Oh, jeez. All right, we're going too far down this path.
Anyway. Okay, so I think when we go back to some of the cybersecurity stuff, obviously the Zscaler. Right, announcement of who was it? Red Canary.
Yeah.
I personally, I wasn't like I think I've sold and had engineers deploy Zscaler, in my time, but I wasn't too caught up on like Red Canary. What's your take on? What did Canary do? And then what's your take on Zscaler's model and acquiring them?
So here's the lowdown, and I think this is an interesting one to cover. One, Zscaler is an active competitor with us at Cisco, but they're bleeding edge in a lot of the SSE and zero trust capabilities that they have. They're very much a product-centric vendor, right? It is selling ZIA, ZPA. They sell outbound egress capabilities and security in the cloud. And they've been adding the portfolio. They've been adding endpoint security. They've been adding cloud app security capabilities. But it's all been productized. It's all for a resale motion. And then some partners can build their own managed service on top. Red Canary is very much an MDR, so managed detection and response service. Much less about having their own resale platform, much more about selling services. So they'd say, hey, we'll ingest whatever your current security tooling is. We'll help you correlate, help you detect, manage, respond to cybersecurity events, but it's a very services driven business. And I think if you look at the history here, like a FireEye or a recent one was Google with Mandiant back in 2022. You look at Google, which was a little less of the vendor space, a little more in the services, and rounding it out. Zscaler is very much a vendor product motion.
Yeah.
So to buy a pure services play to layer on top and ingest more endpoint data, ingest more firewall data, and create a managed service around it, I think it's fascinating, really. And Cisco has their own managed XDR offering internally. We run that through Talos for incident response
Yeah.
capabilities, but it's this area where now you're blending partner initiated motions, services initiated motions with from a vendor side. It gets convoluted at times to navigate, and even at Cisco, I think we are challenged by this, and I think we found a way to thread the needle, which is, hey, if you're a partner and you want to build a managed service on top of our XDR platform, fantastic. Services dollars all day long.
Sure.
That's what you're asking for because they trust you as a partner, and like that's excellent. Use our platform, and we get the resale of the product. We partner as well, and we have our own kind of managed service arm too. If you want it all from Cisco, Zscaler, I think, is showing up saying in this acquisition of Red Canary, like we're going to be more vendor agnostic, third party compatible, and we're deeper in the services business than we ever were before. I am going to be fascinated and following this closely to see where it goes if it's successful. It's a big bet. It was about a $675 million
I was just
acquisition
gonna
by
say
them.
how much was that? Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
six and
think
five.
obviously coming from the partner space myself, like how do partners make money, right? Hardware, software, professional services, managed services, right?
Yeah.
So, like being what Zscaler's more or less a hardware company, right? They have virtual platforms as
Well,
well.
they're really not hardware. It's all SaaS, but it's cloud security,
Clouds, yeah,
send it inline. They've got a endpoint agent, but it's all product focused, and they rely on traditional VARs and MSPs to deploy and potentially manage this for customer base.
yeah. So I know when we were chatting earlier, Dave, like obviously about this article and some other things. One of the key takeaways I read was like platforms are the name of the current game. And it's ironic because a lot of the messaging that we have with our One Cisco story, et cetera, like again, this isn't an advertisement, but it's all about platforms. Competitors in the broader security market are pushing heavily towards platformization, leading to significant consolidation with larger security companies. Exabeam, Logarithm, Cisco, and Splunk, right, to name a few. Zscaler and other vendors looking to become a platform need to expand and compete. Do
Yeah.
you so? And again, you mentioned Google right before with their acquisition, right? We had our acquisition, now Zscaler, and and again, I swore like in other conversations we've had when we talk about like like Gartner, like what do customers want? They want less complexity in their environment. They want less like less throats to choke, if you will. Like they want to consolidate their vendors in their environment so they can
Yep.
manage it effectively. Do you see this as being yet another step in that same consolidation or simplification or platformization,
Platformization, yeah, the old Palo
platformization?
term.
Yeah,
So what's interesting here is I think typically when people think about a platform, they're thinking about it from a product digestion perspective. Give
agreed.
me an enterprise agreement, give me a number of capabilities, it should all work together, and I'll get that thing to deploy because it's easier for my teams to use. When you start adding services, managed threat response, incident response on top of that, that's augmenting a team. I'd argue that's going beyond your traditional term of a platform,
I
but
would agree.
you absolutely are still coming in with a single vendor approach, and you're adding the services layer on part of that contract. The trick is making sure that from a partner perspective, the traditional VAR, that it's not stepping on too many toes, or now we're not competing in the same space. And so there becomes some political elements here, depending on if the partner wants to offer those services themselves. There's plenty of smaller partners that they don't have a 24/7 SOC. They don't have the technical expertise to
True.
build all this
Yeah.
automation. And so they need to partner with a Red Canary or an Arctic Wolf or another vendor as well. So it's an interesting play. And I'm not saying it's the wrong play. I think it makes
It's
sense.
unique. Yeah.
But it's a matter of, do you want to expand in the amount of products you can offer or expand in product and service?
Yeah.
And so see how it plays out for them.
Yeah. Again, I'm obviously, the technical side of it is one aspect of it. Again, how companies make money, right? I think the hardware space is somewhat like a race to zero. And I honestly like
Yeah.
it's if you're price competitive in any deal, like you could win that. But literally, like where organizations make money is their ability to provide stickiness within their accounts, right? And from a services perspective, even a managed service perspective, that's exactly what it does. It's like, yes, we have a platform, right? In this case, ZScaler, right? Now we can do the services behind it, or the managed services, and manage all your threats within your environment and do it for you. That just creates that instant stickiness. And then,
Yep.
if they go down the path of continual acquisition, what else can they add from an offering perspective? We did the same thing from a hardware perspective. Like I think we're second to none, to be honest, right? But then you add in, from a partner perspective, their services and managed services, and now it's a different ball game. So,
Yeah.
exciting news, like nonetheless. And I think, again, I think we'll be following this one just to see, kind of where it lands and how that goes. How big was Red Canary? Like from were they a multi-billion-dollar company? Like you said, it was only a $600 million
Well, no, if it's a
acquisition.
$675 million acquisition, they were probably, I don't know, 150, 200 million, maybe.
200 million, right?
I didn't dig into those details because they weren't a public company. It's just the acquisition price that was published. So
Yeah. It should be fun. Well, good stuff.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. I hate, I know, Dave, we strive to keep these, consolidated under 30 minutes. Would you believe that we're already at 27 minutes in? And
Oh, jeez.
I feel like we can keep going, but we have to end it at
It's
some point.
probably in our best interest to wrap this one up.
I think so. So I think
As he finishes his drink, I still got a lot.
as I finish, right? Yeah. You can continue after the podcast is over and we catch up for another couple hours.
Right.
Nonetheless, I think it's always great catching up, Dave. We already have the next one on the books. That'll drop sometime in July. No offense, I'm out of the country for a couple weeks. I'll probably be enjoying some bourbon and sending you some pictures and whatnot. But to all of our listeners out there, right, really appreciate you with all the support. Like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, like Instagram. Coming soon, our website, Spotify, so on and so forth. Really appreciate it and looking forward to connecting on the next one. So
Fantastic. Take care, everyone.
have a good one. See ya.